Hello, I'm Reverend Kenny Callahan, the pastor at Metropolitan Community Church of Richmond. The sacred text for this coming Sunday service is taken from Luke's story, the 6th chapter, verses 27 to 38. In this sacred text, Jesus continues his sermon on the level plain, teaching his disciples and the crowd that they must love their enemies and pray for those that persecute them, and to do so non-violently, to resist those that have caused them harm. Do to others what you would have them do to you. If you love only those who love you, then you're no better than anyone else, because we all love those who love us. But for those who love all, who do what good they can do, theirs is the kingdom of God. What you give is what you receive in return. The first time I read this lesson, I thought to myself, Jesus, you must have lost your mind. You have bumped your head. Come on, Jesus, get real. You got to be kidding. Love your enemies and pray for those who mistreat you? I don't think so. If someone slaps me on the cheek, you want me to give them the other cheek? If someone takes my coat, I'm supposed to give them my shirt too? No way, Jesus. Be realistic. Is Jesus suggesting that if someone is taking something that belongs to me, I should in response give them more of my belongings? This is absolute nonsense and sounds more like doormat theology. These words are more than challenging. They are absolutely crazy making. And then after I calmed down, I came to a different conclusion. Jesus is not telling people to remain victims, but instead helping them to find a different way, new ways of resisting evil. Love your enemies, do good to those who hate you. This is the idea, I believe, that moved Martin Luther King Jr. and brought him to kneel down with many brothers and sisters before water hoses and snarling police dogs. Many people thought Martin Luther King was crazy. Only violence can fight violence, they told him. But the authorities and the oppressors didn't know what to do with this kind of resistance. They knew the power of violence. They knew the powerlessness of victims who knew their place. But this was something they hadn't seen before. Victims who absolutely refused to be victims. Victims who refused to fight back with violence. Victims who claimed their place and reshaped the battle completely. Some of the teachings of Jesus are hard to hear, especially for those who were victims of abuse and other forms of violence. Jesus teaches us to not physically to resist all the evil things that happen to us, but only in the sense that we not become violent and abusive ourselves. Jesus calls us to love our enemies and to pray for those who persecute us in the hope that they will be transformed by love. This is not passive, letting your enemies walk all over you, but an active way of resisting evil. Loving others helps us to see the humanness in all people, even when they refuse to see it in us. Nonviolence is a way of life for courageous people. Nonviolence seeks to dismantle systems of violence, hatred, bigotry, and all kinds of dysfunction. It seeks to defeat injustice, not people. It holds that suffering can educate and transform. Nonviolence chooses love instead of hate. As people of faith, we are not called to be passive and let oppressive systems keep us down or in bondage. We are called to stand up and speak up, to extend the love of God to everyone, no matter who they are or what they have done. Jesus teaches resistance to oppression and marginalization. And by doing so, we share God's love with all people. And I have learned this truth: love always wins. Thanks be to God.